6 of 2021.
As it pleases the court, appearance for the state is as it was, Your Lordship.
You indicated that the actually
Yes, Your Lordship.
is that still the case?
Yes, Your Lordship.
All right. Before we start, I just want the record to reflect the position the registrar has shared with you, the position with the transcription, and we all know what's okay. So just for the record, that the transcribing services issues were discussed with counsel, both for the state and for the applicants, and by agreement, all has been resolved. Okay, and for the record to reflect that.
As it pleases the court.
As it pleases my Lord.
Please, my Lord, I appear for the first, second, and third applicants as I have been for the last 2 weeks now.
My Lord, for the fourth respondent, as before.
We vote for 5 and 6 as before.
The entire passport.
Yes.
Your Lordship, first before we begin, I just want to submit the passport and the ID book for the court, the color copies that we promise to provide for the court. I think the markers, they all received, Your Lordship.
Please, my Lord, as has been discussed and as would be the position, given the fact that the first, second, and third applicants had submitted their affidavits before any evidence was led, I would begin the cross-examination, my Lord. Morning, Mr. Kanyangela.
Morning, sir.
Kanyangela, I'm going to ask you questions on behalf of applicants 1, 2, and 3, and I'd just like you to keep in mind who they are, Mr. Shangalala, Mr. Hatukulipi, and Mr. Imwate Lulo.
Yes,
Okay, so all my questions are on their behalf. If you could answer the questions as it relates to them. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Now, you're aware that applicants 1, 2, and 3 are applying for bail by way of notice of motion supported by their respective affidavits.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. Now, you're aware of the nature of the charges they are facing, and that is reflected in Exhibit X, which was handed up through you, which is the indictment that was served on the accused.
I'm aware of the charges.
Okay. I just want to point out to you that counts 1, 2, 3, 31, and 41 relate to all 3 applicants, and they constitute charges under the Prevention of Organized Crime Act, popularly referred to as poker. You're aware of that?
I'm aware, but I disagree with your vision.
Okay, what do you disagree with?
That the charges that you are referring to are only emanating from poker.
Now, did you hear my question? Mr. Kanyangela, did you hear my question? Or would you like me to repeat it?
Maybe you can repeat it.
Okay. I said to you that in respect of counts 1, 2, 3, 31, and 41, the applicants are facing charges under poker.
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
And in respect of counts 34 and 36, accused number 2 is facing charges under poker.
Which charges are those ones?
Do you not have the indictment in front of you?
I don't have it.
Okay, I don't think it matters. I'm just going to say to you, if you look at count 34, which says it's a contravention of section 4B 1, 2, and 1 and 2 of poker, and it's in respect of accused 2, 7, 9, and 26, and in respect of count 36, it is in relation to contravention of 4B 1 and 2, and it's in respect of accused 2, 4, and 7. It's a money laundering charge under poker.
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Mr. Kanyangela, I'm just going to say to you, we can make this a lot easier if you just try to be cooperative, not to give me good answers, but just to understand what the issues are that I'm trying to raise with His Lordship. So I'm just cautioning you.
No, I'm cooperating.
Now, you've read the affidavits that the that the applicants submitted in support of their application for bail. That's a question, Mr. Kanyangela.
No, I did not read the affidavit.
Are you quite serious?
I read the affidavit, Mr. Shafimana, but the rest I did not read.
Okay, so you've read Mr. Shangalala's affidavit.
Yes.
So in respect of Mr. Hatukulipi and Mr. Imwatelulo, you've come to oppose bail without reading their affidavits. That must be the inference one must draw, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, in Mr. Shangalala's affidavit, and we'll concentrate on that, one of the bases on which he says he is entitled to bail, he says the ACC, that's the Anti-Corruption Commission, is not authorized to investigate offenses which are created by poker. You're aware of that, that's one of the bases.
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Now, in regard to his application, including this point about the lack of authority on the part of the ACC, the prosecution has decided that you should, on behalf of the state, give evidence opposing bail. And that's the purpose of your evidence, is that correct?
My purpose of objecting bail?
No, please. I'm not asking you the reason. I'm asking you the purpose.
I just want to explain to you also. My opposing of bail.
What was the question?
The prosecution has...
Listen carefully to the question.
Yes, my lord.
The prosecution has chosen you as their witness to oppose the bail applications of applicants 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct or not?
That's correct.
Yes. Now, let me just ask you, this is not the first time you're appearing in court in relation to this matter, in relation to the charges that the accused are facing.
This is not the first time.
Okay. So, in fact, as I understand it, you have been the person chosen to give evidence on behalf of the accused when other people have applied for, other accused in this matter have applied for bail. For example, Mr. Gustavo, about 2 or 3 months ago.
Can you just repeat the question again?
I say, you also gave evidence in relation to, you were chosen by the prosecutor to give evidence when other people have applied bail so as to oppose bail on behalf of the state.
Yes.
You also gave evidence when the state had asked for a remand of the matter, I think in September 2020, and the counsel for the accused at that time had opposed the remand, and you gave evidence in support of the state applications for a remand.
That's correct.
Now, to your knowledge, is there anybody else who's given evidence on behalf of the state in these matters, either in bail or in regard to the postponement or adjournment of the matter?
Yes, I'm aware of some.
Who else? Who is it?
I know Mr. Olivier.
He gave evidence.
Yes.
He's from the ACC.
Yeah, he was from the ACC. Currently not. He's not with the ACC.
But when he gave evidence, he was with the ACC.
That's correct.
Is there anybody else?
Possible.
Now, if you don't know, you must say you don't know. I don't want you to guess, Mr. Kanyangela, please.
Yeah, there was Mr. Klute
Also from the ACC.
from the ACC. And I can recall there was a commissioner from the correctional facility who also came to give evidence.
I'm talking about from the investigating people.
I think those were the only three.
All three from the ACC.
Yes, correct.
Now, when you gave evidence on previous occasions and even in this court before His Lordship, you described yourself as the lead investigator.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, when you say, as I took notes down in this matter, I understood you to say I am a lead investigator, or am I wrong? In other words, I'm trying to, and I want to be fair to you, to ask you, are you a lead investigator or the lead investigator?
It depends how you...
Kanyangela, just make sure also you speak into the mic. So you are moving away from the mic slowly but surely. I have a difficulty to
differentiate between the lead investigator and a lead investigator.
And what is that difficulty?
It's A and D.
Sorry?
A and D. Because you ask whether I'm the lead investigator or a lead investigator.
But surely, forget the difficulty. Surely it's one or the other. What's the difficulty about answering that question? Why are you so reticent?
I see them as meaning the same. That's why I say I have difficulty.
So when you say you are a lead investigator, you mean you are the lead investigator?
That is what I mean.
Okay. So that's we can accept. Your designation is you are the lead investigator.
Yes, you can take it like that.
No, it's not I can take it, and I'll tell you why, Mr. Kanyangele. You are the one who's given evidence, and that's why I referred to your previous evidence, and I referred to your evidence in this court.
Yes.
Now, when somebody must be held accountable for this investigation, it must be the lead investigator, and I'm trying to identify that person.
I am the lead investigator.
So now you have no difficulty in identifying who the lead investigator is. Now, there are no other lead investigators, would that be correct? If you are the lead investigator, the other people who are assisting you are investigators under you as the lead investigator.
That's correct.
And who are they?
It was Mr. Olivier.
Sorry, he's the person who's left now, am I right?
Yes,
And he was from the ACC.
that's correct.
Yes, who else?
Mr. Karel Klute.
Is he still with the ACC?
He left.
He too left.
Yes,
But he was with the ACC.
yes.
Who else?
They were members from the police force.
Who were they?
They were,
Sorry, Mr. Kanyangela.
I don't know whether
apologize.
I have to mention all the
No, you must just answer my questions.
all the names
if you
of the
If you
people.
have a difficulty, you must ask, but you must just answer the question. Before you answer the question, though, can I ask you this? You say they were, and I'm just asking, does it mean they are not under you anymore?
They are still under me. If something come up
Okay,
of which I want their involvement, I can still direct them what to do
okay.
or instruct them what to do.
All right, just give us the names of the police persons that you say were under you and upon whom you can call.
I just want some clarity.
And the answer is yes.
Do I need to mention the names of all the people who took part in the investigation,
Yes.
or whom I give directive to conduct the investigation?
Well, we can divide them into two, but yes, just given the nature of the contention about the lawfulness or the unauthorized nature of the of the investigation. So, just tell us those who took part in the investigation.
Then I was not done with the ACC officials.
Oh, okay. Who else?
We have Abraham Ihalo,
How do you spell that?
Abraham
Yeah. His surname?
Ihalo, Ahuala.
Yeah.
Petros Kangamini,
Yes.
Pele Masule, Werner Gashupao,
Yes.
Victoria Zambwe,
Yes.
Petrus Nilonga,
Yes.
Lucas Sirongo,
Yes.
Timotheus Utale,
Yes.
Selma Kalumbu,
Yes.
Alberti Inambawa,
Yes.
so far I can really remember those.
Okay. Now, Section 13 of the Anti-Corruption Act says that
Your Lordship, the witness has not finished with the team because I remember the question was all the members, including the police officers, and then he indicated that then he did not finalize the ACC members. So there was the issue of the police as well.
I am aware of that because the witness has divided the. It's just that I don't want to be going back and forth into the different categories. I will come back to it and the witness will get that opportunity. But I just thought this was an opportunity to deal with a group of people that he has mentioned in regard to the lawfulness of their appointment. Now, Section 13 of the Anti-Corruption Act says that 13.1 says the director must appoint persons to be investigating officers for the purposes of this act. And it says, subsection 2, an investigating officer has such powers, functions, and duties as may be provided for by this act or as may be delegated or assigned to the investigating officer by the director. Were you given permission to appoint these persons? the ACC persons to your team?
They were not appointed to a team.
But they assisted.
They are part of the commission, appointed by the director.
So but they were not appointed to do this investigation.
They are appointed by the Director General.
Of the ACC.
Yes, correct. To investigate any corrupt practices as per Chapter 4 of the Anti-Corruption Act.
Okay.
Not specific to say they were appointed to investigate a specific case, but all the cases.
Did you ask them or appoint them to assist you in this investigation, as in your capacity as lead investigator?
I did not appoint them.
So how is it that they became
It's just a
involved in
teamwork.
this? Sorry?
It's just a teamwork that we establish.
So I'm just trying to work out how is it that they came to assist in this investigation? Just the practical. They are not the only investigators at the ACC, am I correct?
They are not the only one,
Okay, so
but it's very few who did not participate.
so most of the people at the ACC participated in this.
Because of the complexity of the case here.
And
They
their
participated.
involvement came out as a result of your approaching them, or your approving their involvement.
I did not approve. I just asked them to take part in the investigation.
Okay. So we know now that you brought them into the investigation.
Not necessarily to say me, because they are already appointed to do that.
No, Mr. Kanyangela, we're going to be running around in circles. You are the lead investigator.
Yes.
Other people participated. I'm asking how is it that they came to participate in this investigation?
They were tasked to participate.
By whom?
They were those who were tasked. They were tasked by the Director General to participate.
All of these people.
They are ACC authorized officers.
No, Mr. Kanyangela. You've given us the names of the people who participated in this investigation. You say they were tasked by the Director General. Now I'm asking you, did he task them to be involved in this investigation? And the answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And was that in writing or was it oral?
It was not in writing.
Were you there when he tasked them?
We used to hold a meeting regarding this matter.
With the Director General.
Yes, correct.
And at those meetings, you're aware that he tasked each of these persons whom you've named.
Yes.
The Director General that you are referring to is who is he?
It's Mr. Paulus Noah.
And the meetings at which these persons were appointed, part of the purpose of that meeting was to discuss this investigation.
People were not appointed during the meeting. They were not appointed during the meetings.
You might remember, Mr. Kanyangela, and I'm going to make submissions to His Lordship about the nature of your evidence. I'm going to suggest to you you're being evasive.
No,
Now-
I'm not.
But let me tell you,
I'm not evasive. It's reality.
see, I asked you right at the beginning, did you read the affidavits? Your first answer was no. Then you say, no, I did read Mr. Shangalala's affidavit. All right. Then I say to you, who were the people involved? And you then list a number of people. And I ask you, by pointing to section 13, who appointed them? And you say, they're appointed by the DG. And I say, was it in writing or was it oral? And you say, no, it was not in writing. And I say, where were they appointed? And you say, at meetings. I say to you, so you say they were not, so I see you shake your head.
I don't know whether I say they were appointed or say they were tasked.
Oh, I beg your pardon, you did say task. You are quite right. And now I ask you, when were they tasked?
I think this question is somewhat misleading because the impression being created now is that these investigating officers must be appointed to investigate a particular case, which is not in accordance with Section 13. Section 13 is a general appointment of all the investigating officers under the ACC. So it's not a particular appointment to investigate a particular case. It's a general appointment, Your Lordship.
I would ask my learned friend not to assist the witness, my Lord. Lord, may I make this point? I am merely asking how, and the importance of this will come out in the rest of the cross-examination. But my Lord, it is the witness who said that these are the people who were tasked with the investigation, or tasked with assisting with the investigation. The obvious question was, who tasked them? He then says it was the Director General and it was at meetings. Now, it is not something I was interested in because the question really was, how would we check that? And he says, no, it was not in writing. So I say, where were they appointed? And he says, at meetings. And then he moves away from that answer. Now, surely, my Lord, I'm entitled where a witness is saying that, and that seems to be the thrust of his evidence, that these people were tasked with this investigation by the Director General. I'm entitled to test the veracity of that allegation by the witness. Now, it's got nothing to do with whether the appointment was lawful or not. In other words, did the Director General appoint them? Or was it this witness who did so? Or was it somebody else?
Your Lordship, the issue that the state has is particular investigating officers being tasked to investigate a case, and that tasking being associated with Section 13, because these are two different things. We cannot associate the appointing officer in this particular case, the Director General, tasking a particular investigating officer to investigate a case with appointing the investigating officer. They are two different things. So we just have an issue with tasking being referred to under Section 13, referring this witness to Section 13, Your Lordship.
No, that's those are answers that are coming from the witness. I will allow the question.
As it please the court, Your Lordship.
So Mr. Kenyangela, it's not a point I'm going to take much further today. Let me just say this. There seems to be a reluctance on your part, and I'm going to make this submission to His Lordship, and I want you to respond, to be forthcoming about all the matters that arise from this investigation. What is your response to that?
Can you just repeat again?
I say there seems to be a reluctance for you to be forthcoming about your answers in relation to simple things like we have the powers, so-and-so exercise the powers on this occasion in writing or orally and so on. I'm just going to make that because I don't need to pursue this any further. It'll come up at an appropriate stage, perhaps in the trial. But as to the reliance that can be placed on your evidence, this is in these proceedings, this is a matter I will address His Lordship on, based partly on what on this interaction between us for the last 20 minutes or so. Do you want to react to that?
No.
All right, now let's go to the policemen who were part of the investigation. Now, let me start off that part of my line of questions with the following. Who brought the policemen into the investigation?
They were brought in by the Inspector General. The one appointed them.
Now, you were referred to a letter by the Inspector General, which was Z46. Is that the letter you are talking about?
Yes, is the letter I'm referring to.
Okay, I just want you to please, my Lord, may I give the witness, I'll just show it to my learned friends, it's the same, it's just...
Your Lordship, it's not exactly the same insofar as there are writings on this particular document in their possession.
Okay.
The document that they want to provide to the witness, there are things written on it. So we prefer for a clear copy to be provided to the witness without notes on it.
Lord, may I raise something? This is being totally obstructive. I didn't pick this out of the air. I'm not presenting it as part of the record. The prosecution presented it as part of the record. I'm referring the witness to it. One would have expected that the prosecutors would have all the exhibits in front of the witness so that just like they had the opportunity to refer to the exhibits, we do too as well, my Lord.
I think that's a fair comment. Can the witness be presented with a list and copies of all the exhibits that were used during the testimony?
Your Lordship will not have additional copies for this witness in respect of all the exhibits because, as the court can remember, there are some exhibits that were submitted by the accused persons themselves. For the files that we submitted, yes, that is readily available.
Yeah, you see, that's why I gave time yesterday for us to have our ducks in a row. And I think it's just fair that all the exhibits that were handed in and that are before court because that's your witness. I can't expect the crosser to present. You see, because we make notes on our document. So I think it's just fair that the state has a copy of all the exhibits and present it to the witness so that the witness can have a point of reference.
As it plays a court, Your Lordship, for the exhibits that we used, those are readily available. That is not an issue, Your Lordship. It's just in respect of the other exhibits used by...
Yeah, what I'm saying is the exhibits that were before court. Okay, I'm not going to adjourn now for anything. Z46 was a letter you presented to this witness that came from the Inspector General. If you can hand a copy of that letter to the witness.
As it plays a court, Your Lordship. Let me just ask my colleague for the letter.
You are not the person. You are not the person.
46 only remaining. Exhibit Z46 is the letter dated 14 October 2019.
As it plays a court.
Just show it to counsel before you hand it over to...
So this is the authorization you are talking about, Mr. Kanyangela.
That's correct.
Now, what's the date on that letter?
It's the 14th of October 2019.
Now, can we take it then that it was only on that date that the persons named in this letter were appointed to do an investigation in terms of poker?
Okay, they were authorized just from that day.
From the 14th of October 2019.
That's by letter, correct?
When did you become aware of this letter?
I became aware of it when it was presented to me in court.
That's earlier this week.
That's correct.
When did you appoint these persons, these police people, to your team?
I never appointed them to my team.
When did you start using their services?
After they were given authorization.
No, mister. You only became aware of this authorization, you say, this week, on your own version.
I came to use them since August 2019 is when I started with this investigation.
Sorry, since when?
2019 is when I started with this investigation.
I heard you say August 2019.
That's correct, because the case was with somebody else.
No. Mr. Kanyangela, I just want you, and I don't want us to be at odds about this. If I ask for a date, please give the date. So the question again is, you started using them in August 2019.
That's correct.
Now you know, and you have known from earlier this week that your usage of them, even if this letter serves as proper authority, you know your usage of them from August 2019 to the 14th to the 13th of October 2019 was unauthorized. You know that.
You cannot say it was not authorized. They were already authorized.
By whom?
By the Inspector General.
But no, Mr. Kanyangela, we've got to be serious about this. You said that...
People were appointed October 2019.
Sorry?
They were appointed October 2019.
They were appointed in October 2019.
They were authorized 2019.
Sorry, you'll have to speak a little louder.
I said they were authorized to investigate or to involve in this matter October 2019.
Yes.
By that time, I was not part of the investigators of this case.
Yes.
This case, I came to take over August 2019.
Yes.
August, September, October. Let me just refresh. These people, they're having a unit.
Sorry, just say that again.
I said
I'm not
these
with you.
people.
Who's these people?
The people on the list.
On this list,
Yes.
which you saw this week for the first time.
I saw the list for the first time, but some of them, I was aware that they are from the anti-money laundering unit. Hence, their involvement is from I said during August, possible until they have been authorized. I cannot recall of using them because by that time I was still going through the case file just to familiarize myself with the case. So their involvement only came after, especially they mostly only came to involve during the month of November 2019.
Yes.
We start involving them few days prior to the arrest of these people.
How many days prior?
I cannot now recall how many days.
Okay. Can I just ask you, you know, Mr. Kanyangela, but you must know this, you've given evidence many times in this matter, and I'm sure on previous occasions. You know, everything you say is being recorded. All right. Now, I want to say to you that when I first asked you when were they involved, your answer was August 2019. And then you tried to say 2019. I brought you back to August 2019. Now you come to November 2019. Not even October 2019. Mr. Kanyangela, and I don't want to be unfair to you, but I'm going to say to His Lordship that even on this issue, you are being disingenuous. You are being less than honest. You are being less than forthcoming, despite the fact that in terms of your position in the Anti-Corruption Commission, you should be helping to ensure that constitutional values are upheld. You want to comment on that?
I just don't want to agree with what you said.
Oh. Just coming back to the few days before the accused were arrested, we're going to come to that in a moment. The accused were arrested on the 27th of November 2019. That's correct, isn't it?
That's correct.
Is it all the 6 accused, or is it specific accused persons?
No, at least these 6. At least, yes, the first 6 accused in this matter. Perhaps I should just take your lordship
let's check
Yes.
which accused was arrested.
It's in the court, in your lordship's papers, my lord. If I could just take your lordship there.
Is it in the affidavit?
It's in the affidavit, but there is an affidavit that I will refer to in which the witness asks for the 6 accused to be arrested. And that, my lord, is at SETS 2, and the page is 66, my lord, paragraph 17.
Which file?
Oh, sorry, it's the annexure to Mr. Shangalala's affidavit, my lord.
Okay. 60?
Page 66, my lord.
Right.
Annexure is SETS 2.
Yeah.
And your lordship will see a list of names under paragraph 17. Those are the people who were arrested on the basis of... But although this is the application for an earlier warrant, the same accused were arrested on the 27th of November. But those are matters that I'm going to go into in quite detail just now, my lord.
Yes, you may proceed.
As my lord, please. Can you recall when these policemen became involved? You said, I know it's a few days. I want to know the exact date, if you can remember. And if you can't remember, you must tell His Lordship that you cannot remember.
I cannot remember the exact date.
Let's then look at who were the policemen whom you involved in the investigation a few days before the accused were arrested. Who were they? Give us their identities, please.
There was an involvement of Warrant Officer Shikongo,
Sorry,
Detective Warrant Officer Shikongo.
Chikongo.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't want to stop you from that. Is that just, I see you looking at the list of names on Z46. Is that to remind you because you've forgotten whom you'd appointed?
I never appointed anybody.
Well, whom you roped in to assist you?
Your Lordship, from his evidence, I recall him saying that he used these police officers. That's what I recall about his evidence.
Whom you roped into.
Yes.
So roped into is as are we two talking?
No, Officer Malo.
All right. Yes.
I know Warrant Officer Shikongo.
Yes.
I know Detective Inspector Nambadi. I know, I think it's Sergeant Leo. Those are a few that I can.
Where are the others?
There could be others.
Sorry?
These people, they are not falling under me. And when they become involved, I did not work with them before. So some was for the first time to meet them. Hence, I cannot really indicate as to who and who. Some, I might not now remember their names if I could not check on the people.
No, I was not saying you must not check. That was not my point. My point is, as you stand there, you cannot remember. And there's nothing wrong in saying you can't remember. But I want to refresh my memory by looking at that. There's nothing wrong with saying that. I'm just pointing out for the record that when you were asked the question, you could not remember, and I'm just placing that on record. Is there any other name that you can now recall, now that you've looked at this list?
Recall the name of Detective Warrant Officer Job, the name of Detective Warrant Officer Bampton. I think Sergeant Rawa have already mentioned him. And Detective Officer Warrant J. Basson. Detective Inspector Green was also part. And Detective Chief Inspector Seron. All those.
I heard you saying you met them. How did that meeting come about?
It's a court meeting.
Sorry, so I didn't hear that. It was a what?
It's a meeting that was called between the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Namibian police to discuss about the investigation on this matter.
Who called the meeting?
It could be made from the office of the Director General.
So, did he call the meeting?
The office of the Director General.
This is the Director General of the ACC.
That's correct.
He called the meeting.
I don't know who arranged it, but since this meeting was held at the ACC,
Were you invited to the meeting?
I was part of the meeting.
You heard my question. Were you invited to the meeting?
Yes.
And were all these policemen police persons whose names appear on Z46 present at this meeting?
I cannot recall whether they all have been present.
Okay. Besides the policemen police persons who were there, and I'm distinguishing between police persons and ACC personnel, and yourself, who else was present at that meeting?
I cannot recall any other person.
Was the DG present, the Director General?
He was present.
Is the Director General of which institution?
Of the Anti-Corruption Commission.
What was the purpose of the meeting?
The purpose of the meeting was just to discuss how we should deal with this matter.
And was there a role to be given to the police persons?
There was a role for conducting of searches and for arresting the accused persons.
Well, that role was given to the police, the conducting of searches and the arresting of the accused persons.
Okay, the conducting of the searches, some ACC officials were so involved.
And the arresting of the accused?
So the accused were arrested on warrant of arrest. So they were arrested by the police.
So when you say the role of the police was to be involved in the arresting of the accused persons, you're talking about physically taking them into custody, not the process of ensuring that they are arrested.
Can you just rephrase what you said?
You see, Mr. Kanyangela, it really would help if you just tried to listen to the question and answer it in a forthright and honest manner. Remember, I asked you at the meeting, was the role of the police discussed? You said yes. I says, what was their role? And your answer was conducting of searches and arresting accused persons. Remember, that was your answer. I'm reading to you what I took down. That's correct, isn't it?
That is what I said?
Yes. No. And there's a second question. You may have said it. Now I'm asking you if it is also true, notwithstanding what you said. It's true that the meeting said their role was to conduct searches.
But they were not only limited to those.
Right. What else was their role?
They also play a role in taking one statement of the accused persons, they play a role in identifying assets and seize some of the assets of the accused persons. They also get some documentations with regarding to assets. I think that is what I can recall now.
Right. Now, I just want to try and distinguish two things if there is a difference. Remember, my question is, what was the role designated for them at the meeting? That was my question. Now, you've listed 5 things. Was that what they were told at the meeting?
We have several meetings.
No, Mr. No. And that's why I'm trying to distinguish. I don't want to stop you. I just don't want us to be going all over the place. You remember, this all started with where they first roped in, asked to assist, whatever one wants to call it, and you said a few days before the accused were arrested. Remember that?
Yes.
Then you went on to say, and Mr. Kanyangela, we're going to be here, I can tell you, until the trial ends. We won't be finished at this rate. So it would just be helpful if you listen to the question and just answered what you are asked. So the next question was, what role was assigned to them? And the question, the answer you gave were these 5 activities. Now my question is this...
Is that correct, Mr. Soni?
I beg your pardon.
Isn't it, he indicated that the roles that were assigned at the meeting is searches and arrest. These 5, he said, they also came to perform them. He didn't testify that these 5 were assigned at the meeting.
Oh, but My
That's
Lord,
how I understood his
yes.
testimony.
No, then I have misunderstood him, my
Yes.
Lord. My Lord, it's not
I'm going
helpful
to,
for my
I'm
learned
going, yeah,
friend.
I'm going to say this for the last time. I am in charge in this court. I am going to speak. I don't want anybody to help me speak. I have a tongue and I have a mouth. I don't want anybody to help me speak, and I'm not going to allow anybody to speak in between. Please. Yes.
Please.
Yes. Sorry, Mr. Somi.
Yes.
No. Were you objecting or?
Yes, it's what is being put to the witness is not fully what the witness.
Yes, I think I've corrected that with Mr. Somi. Is
Yes,
there
Your
anything that you want to?
Because at the end, what the witness had said in respect of those points that the court mentioned, he says it's what he can recall for now. That was also part of his.
Yeah, but what I'm
testimony,
saying
Your
is,
Lordship.
he did not testify that those 5 aspects were assigned to the police officers at the meeting. At the meeting, the way I have understood his testimony is it's the searches
And the arrest.
and the arrest. And then he came and said, but they also did other things. So that's just what I wanted to clear with Mr. Song. And it's those 5 points that he said they performed, although but not that they were assigned at the meeting.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Okay.
As you please the court.
Lord, I must apologize. I misunderstood. But let me, I don't know if your Lordship wants to clarify that, or may I do so?
No, you may clarify.
You, Mr. Kanyangela, you've heard what his Lordship has said.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So let's go back to the meeting just before, a few days before the accused were arrested, the meeting called by the DG of the ACC. Now, is it correct that the police persons were assigned 2 roles or 2 sets of activities, namely conducting searches and arresting the accused persons? I'm talking about at the meeting. In other words, what was the decision at the meeting relating to the role of the police?
At the meeting prior to the arrest, their role was to arrest and to conduct the searches
So then, just for clarity's sake, are those the only 2 roles they were assigned at the meeting?
those are the 2 I can recall.
Okay. Then you added 3, and you saying that you are now recalling more roles, or that these roles were assigned to them, or they performed these roles subsequent to that meeting?
Some roles
This is the meeting, the first November 2019 meeting. What was said about the arrest of the accused? What was said? About the residential places, where they stay. Some of the accused Mr. Judge Shafimana